by Supersport. Sponsored by Total. You know where to turn.
Brand new Dakar rally had some stunning stages during the first week, but the second was to be even tougher. After the rest day in Valparaiso, it was the trek north towards the incredible Atacama Desert, where it hasn't rained for over 300 years. The massive stage, making nearly 700 kilometers, is going to be a big one through Capiapo, then back over the Andes, into Argentina, down to La Rioja and Cordoba, before the 14 stages came to a close in Buenos Aires on January 18th. Dakar 2009. Same challenges, new places. So, into the second week, the trek north from Valparaiso towards La Serena, 294 kilometers. Chilean Francisco Lopez won the stage over the Andes from Argentina to a total hero's welcome. Even the president of Chile was there to congratulate him. Back into business in week 2, and he was having another good go at winning a stage on the world's toughest motorsport events. Whatever Lopez was doing, his fans would carry him or shout him over the finish.
Contento de estar en Chile, la gente está muy contenta
de hacer este rally. Así que nada, disfrutarlo, tratarlo lo mejor posible. So I hope that everything will be good until the end of the stage in La Serena. In the end, the cheers didn't get him the stage win, but he did rise to 7th in the overall standings. Dupre was the man, though, who won the stage, starting the second week of the rally off on a far better foot than he did the first. Amazingly, he'd made up 18 places in a week after a puncture-ridden first few stages. Mark Homer always kept Dupre in sight, careful not to overstretch himself nor the KTM, so as to cherish his 66-minute lead. American Jonas Street could rock the Dakar. As a privateer, he was up to 2nd overall at the halfway point, but an innocuous crash on stage 8 proved cruel.
I went down and re-injured an old injury that I had in my wrist, and not going to be able to continue now.
Overall, after the 8th stage, Mark Comer continued to lead, just over an hour ahead of David Fretinier. Dupre 3rd, Street 4th, but soon to retire ahead of Oliver Seta. Carlos Sainz was quick off the mark. He had a 9-second lead coming into the second week, but he managed to make it 11 up to La Serena. Dieter Depping, he's out of the limelight at VW, but he just missed out on the stage win to La Serena by 4 minutes. Mark Miller, though, was chasing hard. He was 3rd in the overall standings. Mitsubishi started with 4 cars, but now it was just Roma's Lancer that was still in the rally. His dilemma was to push or to stay safe. The most important part is to be here. The car is going to be going better, and we'll be here at the end of each day. If VW want to win, they're going to have to fight, because even if we're the last car, Mitsubishi will never give up. Overall, Sainz's lead now up to 11 minutes ahead of De Villiers, Miller 3rd, Roma 4th, Gordon 5th. Stage 8 also threw up some terrifying moments. This is Jean-Paul Humili's bowler going over the edge and having an enormous accident. He rolled it over 10 times on the way down, and they were lucky to get away with it. Co-driver taking the driver's helmet off, the driver asking, am I okay? Co-driver saying, yeah, you're okay, don't worry. Stage 9, heading again north into the heat and the heart of the Atacama Desert, the driest desert in the world, destination Copiapo. Dutchman Frans Verhoeven set off 33rd at the start, but soon caught up the front runners who helped him find his way, even if he was having trouble and running off the stage due to the helicopter distracting him. But he won the stage, his second of the rally. Never has a 450cc bike gone so well, but it was David Fretinier who was sticking it to the 660s, second overall. Francisco Lopez couldn't quite win another stage at home in Chile, but he had a good go. He leapt up another 3 places overall to be 4th. His target was Mark Coma, but it was a long shot as the Barcelona boy was still over an hour ahead of the rest. On the way up to the driest desert on Earth, Carlos Sainz won his 5th stage of the rally, and so strengthened VW's dominance of this all-new Dakar rally in South America. Sainz and Miller went through the stage together after a slow start. Sainz got his pace. Miller was flying through the stage, leading it at one point, going for his first stage win of the year and trying to close in on Sainz's overall lead. And he was doing just that until things went wrong. He had a puncture and he was also having problems with his power steering, and he had to top it up with oil. De Villiers' 9-second gap to the lead had slipped to 11, then 23 minutes. It put him now 3rd. Robbie Gordon had a fresh gearbox after the rest day and was trying to close in on Nani Roma, who was 1.5 hours ahead of him. But Roma was keeping cool in the searing temperatures of the Atacama Desert. He may well be the lone Mitsubishi, but he was still 4th in the overall standing.
We went completely in the wrong direction for about 10 or 12 kilometers, you know. It was completely, and then afterwards there was another mistake, another 2 or 3 kilometers wrong.
Russian Leonard Levinsky was also being rapid in a BMW, but at times found that that was even too much. The rally's longest stage started and finished in Copiapo, but was modified to just 476 kilometers, still an ultra-hard test. The dunes on stage 10 were big. Big like you have no idea until you're in the midst of them. But even Cyril Dupre got lost in those dunes, together with the overall leader, Mark Coma. 142 bikes started the stage from an original total of 217. The searing temperatures of the day, due to a later than planned start, were likely to catch out more, with total and utter exhaustion. And even with the world's bests making a mistake of some 28 kilometers off the beaten track, the people behind were going to be struggling. Dupre and Coma got lost in the vast expanse of sand. Hardly difficult, considering they were in the heart of the Atacama Desert, the driest place on Earth. They were joined by Francisco Lopez as they tried to find their way out. But all the time, Coma knew that he just had to stay with Dupre. But as the big hitters stuck together through the tremendously difficult stage, it was Jordi Vierdoms who came out with the stage win. After a terrible first week, Alain Duclos so nearly denied Vierdoms of that stage victory. There was only a minute between them. Helder Rodriguez also made hay whilst the hot sunshine shone. The Portuguese rider was in 5th overall. However, the day was full of stunning sights. Dunes, the kind that had never been seen before in the 30-year history of the Dakar. As we climbed back into the foothills of the Andes, the landscapes were truly breathtaking. The Dakar once more stunning the world. Overall, after stage 10, Coma leading from Fretinier, Dupre 3rd, Vierdoms and Rodriguez. There may be 1,000,000 square miles of desert, but you always have to watch your parking. Dieter Depping clashing with fellow German Matthias Kahl.
We come over and nobody stands there, and we cannot see after the dunes the car stand here. So I come over and then saw in the last moment the red car, but was too late.
During the height of summer in the driest desert in the world, the dunes were soft. Many said the sand was just like water around their wheels. At times, it seemed there was just no way out. It seemed a never-ending battle against dune after dune after dune. Orlando Terranova was the man on a mission, leading in the early part of the stage, but then rolling dramatically out of the rally. The team have decided that after our second roll, it was just not safe for us to continue. Near to the finish, they could see the bivouac in the valley below, but they were almost cruelly sent over the highest dune as the final waypoint on the entire stage. The view, some sort of reward for the climb. The stage was already shortened by some 200 kilometers. Just imagine what it had been if it had been the full 670. Robbie Gordon had chosen sand tires for the entire rally, and this was the kind of stage on which to use them. The Baja 1000 and NASCAR specialist did all he could, but he had the stage victory snatched from him by a mere 21 seconds. That stage win did go to Carlos Sainz, the double world rally champion, extending his lead and edging ever closer to the finish and that Dakar win.
On a le waypoint, on peut partir à gauche. Oui, tout de suite. Cap 345, voilà, parfait. Hein? C'est bon, il n'y a pas de waypoint, hein? Il n'y a pas de waypoint.
But Sainz had no time to look at the truly spectacular views. All he had in his sights was overall victory. Overall, after stage 10, Sainz was continuing to lead, 27.5 minutes ahead of Mark Miller, De Villiers in third, Roma and Gordon. Stage 11 from Copiapo to Fiambala. Over the top of the Andes was the route for the stage, but after early morning fog prevented helicopters from flying, the stage was cancelled. The gentle run over the Andes was a run over the roof of the world at 4,700 meters, over the pass of San Francisco. Was the Dakar on Earth, or was it running on the moon? But the sunny day off couldn't continue forever as the rally descended into Fiambala. The Argentines so happy to have the Dakar rally back on their side of the Andes after Chile had had its turn. Stage 12 next up, Fiambala to La Rioja. 253 kilometers, another grueling test. Carlos Sainz made the break back towards Buenos Aires as the overall leader of the rally. 6 stage victories already to his name and not a single problem with the Volkswagen. But then on the stage, Sainz got lost for a short way, and early on he was rattled. Momentarily, but rattled nonetheless.
We go back to the waypoint. I'm sorry, we have to find à gauche.
Chicherit had pushed hard, closing in on Sainz for 6 minutes, but then he got so close to the edge and so lucky not to go over the nasty drop. But then, drama behind the French BMW, the overall leader of the rally, Carlos Sainz, going over the very same drop that Chicherit had avoided, and the rally leader out of the rally, the Volkswagen on its roof and going nowhere. The medics soon arrived and they were tending to the co-driver, Michel Perrin. Carlos Sainz still adamant that his rally could continue. But then Sainz could hear a car closing in.
Help me! Yeah. Stop the car, sir! Stop the car! Stop, 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 stop!
Nani Roma within a whisker of landing on top of Sainz's Volkswagen. Sainz still was adamant that he could continue until he was given the news.
Carlos, finish for him. Okay.
Faut plus que ça pèse, c'est trop lourd.
Ça va mieux, hein?
Non.
C'est pas normal, ça, hein? This is not normal at all. How is possible? Oh, c'est pas dans les roundbook.
Sainz had had a World Rally Championship snatched from his grasp 10 years earlier. This was almost worse. What happened was unbelievable. A hole like that, not noted in the roadbook. A 4-meter drop. If we hadn't have gone in that hole, then other drivers would certainly have done.
Si no llegamos a parar a 2 o 3 coches van detrás nuestro.
Quelle déception terrible. Hein?
You were fooled? Yes, we were fooled. The Dakar had slipped from the Spaniards, 79.61 kilometers, the point on the map where it was torn to shreds. Nani Roma was also in trouble, but less fundamentally. Fighting for 4th overall, he had an overheating engine, and getting stuck in the dunes hardly helped. But once he got going, he found the descents off the tops of the dunes quite immense. It was just one of those stages. The remaining Volkswagens then got lost. De Villiers and Miller trying to find their way out. One of them was to be the new leader, but it was the man finding his best way was Janil De Villiers, leaving Miller 16 minutes back in the stage.
The most difficult stage ever that I've ever done. I can't even explain how difficult it was. Not just the navigation, the white sand in the dunes was so soft. We were stuck one time, I was sure we would be camping there. It was, and then we were stuck again and the car was completely like this, straight up and down. We went into a dune and I couldn't see it. So it was absolutely insane.
Christoph Holovic was down to 5th after a prop shaft problem a couple of days earlier. But he was liking the stages, getting his foot down, trying to catch Ivar Erik Tollefsen ahead of him. The pair of them in the Glyn Paul-built Nissans were humbling much better funded machinery. Nani Roma did manage to get out of the stage. He returned late into La Rioja. The problem with the car, completely and utterly self-evident. Overall, after 12 stages, De Villiers now taking the lead by just 2.5 minutes from teammate Miller, Gordon, Tollefsen and Holovic rounding out the top 5. Mark Comer was getting a little nervous as the rally came to a close. He had led every day. Dupre was chasing Comer again, trying all he could to break into the 1.5-hour lead. Frétinier in 3rd had the bad luck day. Oil leaking from his 450 Yamaha, leaving nothing at all in the crankcase. The quick Frenchman was lucky to get out of the stage, lucky to keep his position. It's a complete miracle. If I pull out the dipstick, there's no more oil. It's dry. I don't know how I got here. Comer continued to lead, an hour and a half ahead of Dupre. Frétinier amazingly holding that 3rd position. Behind the front runners, the privateers struggled. Many thought this Dakar would be easier than the African edition. However, through all the carnage, a round of applause was needed for Dominique Brie, who managed to conquer one of 1,000 climbs.
Dakar, comme on les aime. C'est tout le paradoxe. La partie d'une est passée.
The Kamaz trucks were once more masters of the desert. They were leading in the overall standings, but it was Dutchman Gerard de Roy who was chasing hard, trying to break the Russian stranglehold on the big class. Stage 13 from La Rioja to Cordoba. Buenos Aires was getting closer, but it was another big stage, 545 kilometers, but that was modified. It was 200 kilometers shorter. It was a close battle for the top 4 in the overall standings, but come the finish, David Castello managed to beat everybody for that 4th position. Oh, what could have been were it for a better week in the first part of the rally. Helder Rodriguez was victorious on a stage towards the end of the rally and only missed out on 4th position by just 5 minutes. Palando Ulavaceta was even closer to 5th than 5th was to 4th. Ulavaceta losing 5th position by just 3 minutes. Jordi Villadoms, the younger Spaniard, backing up Mark Coma. Villadoms in 7th in the overall standings. After Sainz's dramatic exit from the lead, VW were adamant that they weren't going to lose this rally. De Villiers stopped on the stage, waiting for his teammates to join him, should he run into trouble. First there was Miller, and then the faithful teammate German Dieter Depping arrived to make it a full trio of Tuaregs, trundling to the finish. Concentration written over all of their faces. Roma's woes had dropped him from 4th to 10th. He could only hope for more next time. The final stage, stage 14, from Cordoba back to Buenos Aires. A special stage of 227 kilometers, the last blast towards the Champagne. Helder Rodriguez had won his first stage on the Dakar back in 2006 and now added another to his tally on the ultra-fast run back towards Buenos Aires. A just reward for his 5th overall. But it was the boy from Barcelona, Mark Coma. He won back in 2006, but his dominance in this 2009 event was stunning. He led every single day of the 9,500 kilometre long rally. And for the Austrian KTM squad, they were victorious. It was their 8th straight victory. Coma winning an hour and 25 ahead of Dupre. Fretinier with the 450, a superb 3rd, Castello and Rodriguez. 6th was Ulavaceta from Villadoms, Verhoeven, Knoiman and Goncalves rounding out 10th. In 2007, I lost it just 2 days before the end. Here, I was leading right from the beginning of the rally, and I had to resist that pressure throughout the whole rally. I just want to say that my team have done a superb, a fantastic job. Jordi and Gerard working so well. Jordi sacrificing a position in the overall standings. On the quads, Josef Metacek, the Czech Republic rider with his Yamaha, easily ahead of the rest by 2.5 hours. For Janil de Villiers, it was no weekend drive through the last stage. He sped through to win it. VW stage tally, 10 wins from 13 stages. The others hardly had a look in. Volkswagen, the first to win the Dakar with a diesel engine. Second, by just 9 minutes, tantalisingly close, but best American ever, was Mark Miller, narrowly beating the ever-spectacular Robbie Gordon. 4th was Ivar Erik Tollefsen, the Norwegian in the privateer Nissan, just 1 place ahead of his teammate, Christoph Holovic. On board with Jean-Marc Fortin, the co-driver, saying, honestly, when we saw the contenders at the beginning, even in our wildest dreams, we didn't imagine this. We're more than satisfied. Our teammate has done well too. 2 cars inside the top 5. And if you don't mind, I'm going to get back to reading the notes.
Really incredible race and really hard, really tough. Great team. everybody did a great job. You know, the guys worked until 4 or 5 in the morning, sometimes, you know, if they had to. But, you know, great job. You know, unbelievable feelings. You know, I still cannot believe it. And Dirk did a great job too.
Like you.
Thank you.
De Villiers victorious by 9 minutes ahead of Mark Miller. Robbie Gordon in third. Tollefson was a fourth position, just ahead of teammate Christoph Olovic. Dieter Depping, the third Volkswagen in sixth. Zapletal, Novitsky, Shishirit and Nani Roma. But for Mark Comer, it was time to celebrate on top of the podium at the finish in Buenos Aires, on top of the world for the world's best, Comer de Prey and David Fretinier. Others celebrated in style, but it was Janil de Villiers with Dirk von Zitzewitz, Chris Nissen and the entire Volkswagen squad who celebrated their dominance, a first and second, third for Robbie Gordon, whilst the Kamaz won on the trucks.
The Dakar Rally, brought to you by Super